Abundance. What does this word mean to you? For some, it might conjure images of overflowing bank accounts or a life of luxury. But true abundance is so much bigger than that. It's about having more than enough in every area of life. It's about experiencing the fullness of joy, peace, and love that God wants for us. Remember, God's love for us is limitless. He wants us to experience His goodness in extraordinary ways. Let's open our hearts to the possibility of an abundant life. The Bible is filled with stories of God's abundant blessings. In Psalm 23 verse 5, David writes, "You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil. My cup runs over." David isn't talking about a literal cup here. He's talking about God's blessings overflowing in his life. Think about the Israelites in the desert. God miraculously provided manna from heaven and water from a rock. Their needs were met in extraordinary ways. God is the same yesterday, today, and forever. What He did for His children then, He can certainly do for us now. These stories might seem like ancient history, but their message is timeless. God is a God of abundance, and He longs to pour out His blessings on us today. In John 10 verse 10, Jesus says, "I have come that they may have life, and have it to the full." He didn't come just to give us a mediocre existence. He came to give us life overflowing with joy, purpose, and love. These promises are not just for some distant future. They are available to us right now. We serve a God who delights in our well-being. He wants to see us thrive and flourish in every aspect of our lives. Let's embrace that truth and live with expectancy. But abundance isn't just about receiving, it's also about giving. When we experience God's blessings, we are called to share them with others. Proverbs 11:25 says, "A generous person will prosper. Whoever refreshes others will be refreshed." When we are generous with what God has given us, we open ourselves up to even greater blessings. Think about the story of the widow who gave her last 2 coins. She didn't have much, but she gave everything she had. And Jesus commended her faith and generosity. Our generosity doesn't have to be extravagant. It's about sharing what we have, no matter how small, with a cheerful heart. Section 5, Faith, the key to abundance. In our journey through life, we often seek ways to find fulfillment and joy. Many of us look for the secret to living a life that is rich and full, not just in material wealth, but in love, peace, and purpose. The answer to this quest lies in a simple yet profound concept: faith. So how do we tap into this life of abundance? How do we unlock the treasures that life has to offer? The journey begins with understanding the true nature of faith and how it connects us to the divine source of all blessings. The answer is simple: faith. Faith is not just a belief in something unseen, it is a deep trust and confidence in the goodness and power of God. It is the assurance that, no matter what circumstances we face, there is a higher power at work, guiding and providing for us. Hebrews chapter 11 verse 6 tells us, "Without faith, it is impossible to please God, because anyone who comes to Him must believe that He exists, and that He rewards those who earnestly seek Him." This verse highlights the importance of faith in our relationship with God, because anyone who comes to Him must believe that He exists, and that He rewards those who earnestly seek Him. Faith is not just about believing in God's existence, it is about trusting in His character and His promises. It is about knowing that He is a loving and faithful God who desires to bless us abundantly, and that He rewards those who earnestly seek Him. When we seek God with all our hearts, we open ourselves up to experiencing His presence and His blessings in our lives. It is through this earnest seeking that we find the true riches of life. Faith is the key that unlocks the door to God's blessings. It is the key that opens the door to a life of abundance, where we can experience the fullness of God's love, joy, and peace. When we have faith, we are able to see beyond our current circumstances and trust in God's greater plan for our lives. When we trust in His goodness and provision, we are able to let go of our worries and fears. We can rest in the assurance that God is in control and that He will provide for all our needs. This trust allows us to live with a sense of peace and contentment, knowing that we are in the hands of a loving and faithful God. We open ourselves up to experiencing His abundance in our lives. This abundance is not just about material wealth, but about the richness of life that comes from knowing and trusting in God. It is about experiencing the joy, peace, and love that come from a deep relationship with Him. Faith isn't about mustering up some magical feeling. It is not about trying to convince ourselves to believe in something that we don't truly trust. Instead, faith is about a deep and abiding trust in God's character and His promises. It is about knowing that He is faithful and that He will never let us down. It's about trusting in God's character and His promises, even when we don't see the evidence with our own eyes. Faith is about believing in the unseen and trusting that God is at work in our lives, even when we can't see it. It is about holding on to His promises and knowing that He is faithful to fulfill them, even when we don't see the evidence with our own eyes. Remember, God is faithful. He has promised to never leave us or forsake us, and He is true to His word. When we place our trust in Him, we can be assured that He will provide for us and guide us through every situation. He will never abandon us. No matter what challenges we face, we can trust that God is with us and that He will see us through. His love and faithfulness are unwavering, and He is always there to support and guide us. When we place our trust in Him, we can experience a life of abundance and fulfillment. We can live with the confidence that God is in control and that He has a wonderful plan for our lives. This trust allows us to live with joy and peace, knowing that we are in the hands of a loving and faithful God. We can be assured that He will provide for us in ways we could never imagine. God's blessings are beyond our wildest dreams, and when we have faith, we open ourselves up to receiving them. So let us hold on to our faith and trust in God's goodness, knowing that He has a wonderful plan for our lives. Living in the overflow of God's blessings means choosing joy even amidst challenges. It's about finding that inner peace and contentment that comes from knowing we are loved and cared for by a higher power. When we live in the overflow, we are not just surviving, we are thriving. We are able to see the beauty in the small things, like the smile of a loved one or the warmth of the sun on our face. This mindset allows us to navigate life's ups and downs with grace and resilience. It means looking for the good in every situation and trusting that God is working all things together for our good, as stated in Romans chapter 8, verse 28. This trust is not passive, it's an active choice to focus on the positive and to believe in the promise that everything happens for a reason. When we adopt this perspective, we can find hope even in the darkest of times. We can see setbacks as setups for greater things to come, and we can rest in the assurance that we are never alone in our struggles. It means being thankful for what we have, knowing that God is our provider. Gratitude shifts our focus from what we lack to what we have, and it opens our eyes to the abundance that surrounds us. When we cultivate a heart of gratitude, we begin to see blessings in disguise and appreciate the simple joys of life. This attitude of thankfulness can transform our outlook and bring a sense of fulfillment and joy that is not dependent on our circumstances. It also means being generous with our time, talents, and resources, knowing that it is more blessed to give than to receive, as mentioned in Acts chapter 20, verse 35. Generosity is a natural outflow of living in the overflow. When we recognize how much we have been given, we are inspired to share with others. This could be through acts of kindness, volunteering, or simply being there for someone in need. By giving of ourselves, we not only bless others, but also experience the joy and satisfaction that comes from making a positive impact. Living in the overflow is about aligning our hearts and minds with God's heart of abundance. It's about shifting our mindset from scarcity to abundance, from fear to faith. When we align ourselves with this divine perspective, we begin to see the world through a lens of possibility and hope. We understand that there is more than enough for everyone, and that we are all connected in this journey of life. This alignment brings a sense of peace and purpose, knowing that we are part of something greater than ourselves. It's about letting go of fear and scarcity and embracing the truth that we are deeply loved and cared for. When we let go of fear, we make room for love, joy, and peace to fill our hearts. we begin to live with a sense of freedom and confidence, knowing that we are supported and guided every step of the way. Embracing this truth allows us to live fully and authentically, experiencing the richness of life in all its forms. Living in the overflow is a journey of faith, gratitude, and generosity, and it leads to a life of true abundance. Gratitude is the language of abundance. It is a powerful force that can transform our lives in ways we might not even imagine. When we take the time to acknowledge the good in our lives, we open our hearts to more positivity and joy. When we focus on what we are thankful for, we shift our perspective from scarcity to abundance. This shift allows us to see the world through a lens of possibility and hope. It helps us to appreciate the small moments that make life beautiful, like a friend's laughter or a stunning sunrise. We begin to see the countless blessings that God has showered upon us. These blessings come in many forms, from the love of family and friends to the beauty of nature that surrounds us. Each day is a gift filled with opportunities to experience joy and connection. In 1 Thessalonians chapter 5 verse 18, we are encouraged to give thanks in all circumstances, for this is God's will for you in Christ Jesus. This verse reminds us that gratitude is not just for the good times, but also for the challenges we face. It is through these challenges that we grow and learn. Even when life throws us curveballs, there is always something to be grateful for. It might be the support of a loved one, a lesson learned, or simply the strength to keep going. Gratitude helps us to find the silver lining in every situation. Start each day by thanking God for His faithfulness. Make it a habit to write down at least 3 things you are grateful for each morning. This simple practice can set a positive tone for the rest of your day and help you to stay focused on the good. Express gratitude for the people in your life, for your health, for your home. These are the foundations of our well-being and happiness. By appreciating them, we strengthen our relationships and our sense of security. For the beauty of nature. Nature has a way of grounding us and reminding us of the wonders of creation. Whether it's a majestic mountain, a blooming flower, or the calming waves of the ocean, these moments of natural beauty can fill us with awe and gratitude. The more we cultivate an attitude of gratitude, the more we will experience the fullness of God's blessings. Gratitude is a practice that can transform our lives, bringing us closer to God and to each other. It opens our hearts to love, joy, and peace, allowing us to live more fully in the present moment. Embracing a life of abundance is a journey, not a destination. It's about daily choosing to walk in step with God, trusting in His promises, and allowing His love to transform us from the inside out. It's about letting go of the things that weigh us down, fear, worry, anxiety, and embracing the peace and joy that come from knowing we are deeply loved and cared for. Remember, abundance is not a destination, but a way of life. It's about aligning our hearts with God's heart and allowing Him to work through us to bless others. Friends, God's desire is for you to live a life overflowing with His blessings. He wants to pour out His goodness on you in extraordinary ways. Will you let Him? Open your heart to the possibility of abundance in every area of your life. Trust in God's promises, cultivate an attitude of gratitude, and be a conduit of His blessings to others.